Welcome to We'll Throw the After Party. Happy Thanksgiving week to all of the Americans. Happy wishing you had had a Thanksgiving dinner to everybody else in the world who had to suffer through their friends' Be Real posts and TikToks and tweets about dinners that they did not get to have while they ate leftovers. Definitely wasn't my week, but it's fine. I'm producer Liz. I am currently suffering all over the internet as Bones and All Press Tour unravels and suffering watching all of you have very lovely turkey dinners. And I'm with the Princess of Genovia and the Senator of Naboo this evening for a conversation on politics, monarchy, and our modern world. Welcome,
Wow.
Princess of Genovia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. That's me. I am the true heir to the throne of Genovia, which is a real country that really exists.
Oh, I thought you were the princess because, when a dude marries a queen, they just become prince and not king. I thought you were marrying Anna.
No.
I thought you were the Princess of Genovia.
Yeah.
Because you and Anne Hathaway are the same person in my mind after rewatching this film. Like the cadence of your language, your facial expressions, the timing of your responses. It's like watching the same person.
Yeah. No, this is Amelia, mean you're not Thermopolis Rinaldi, Princess of Genovia. It's Miss Bobissa, Princess of Genovia. That's my title.
So Princess
of Genovia.
Yep.
Listen.
Hi, I'm Senator Sly of Naboo. I'm just sticking with it. You're stuck with this username for the rest of history. It's fine.
I'm obsessed. And if you don't know the reference, you can rewatch our episode all about which movie, Sly?
The one and only Star Wars, The Clone Wars, the 2008 animated movie, aka the best Star Wars movie of all time.
I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It's so good. I just realized that I cannot share both the timer for our rants and my PowerPoint presentation at the same time. So
Yes,
I'm going to
you can.
troubleshoot
Yes, you
this.
can.
Hold on. I know how to do this because I figured it out.
Because you had to figure it
Go
out last
to
week.
present,
Yeah.
slides, and then add a file from Google Slides.
I
And
love
you can
troubleshooting
upload
live.
it.
Live production is all about obsessed.
I mean, I was prepared to do a little song and dance to fill the time, but you guys got it.
No, it's so good. Sly slayed. And speaking of Sly slaying, what did you enjoy this week?
I first and foremost enjoyed compliments from Liz, which I don't know if Liz knows what this is in reference to, but
No.
it's truly a high that I've been riding all week, so I had to mention it on air. I did in fact make a playlist recently that I really enjoyed. I was very proud of it. And then, even after being very proud of it, Liz complimented it by saying, I don't listen to other people's playlists, but this to the bar for what I look for in a playlist. So that my playlist was 100% Liz approved. And honestly, one of the highlights of my life. There is no higher bar. It's interviewing Max Gow and Liz co-signing a playlist I made.
Listen, the award goes to very few. And I need you to know that I sent you that text only after I'd gotten home from a drive to McDonald's and didn't realize that was the playlist I was listening to the entire time. So not only did I actively choose your playlist, but I passively chose your playlist, enjoyed it for a car ride, and then looked at what it was and realized that it was your playlist. So you hit two bars there.
That's high praise.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
a round of tacos, please, in the chat to Sly. I think very deserving.
I appreciate it. I've also been listening to a lot of stuff lately, which I go through phases where ears work. So that's been fun. I started Unprepared Casters-ish. I listened through 2 arcs of Unprepared Casters, and you might be like, Sly, you're so picky about D&D podcasts. And I'd be like, correct. But Grace was on this one. So I listened to arcs 4 and 9 because those were the ones Grace was on. I loved Arc 4. I had a blast. I love fake sports. It's one of my favorite things. Like, Quidditch is bad. We all know that. It's a bad sport. I still have fun time with it. We've been talking a lot about how I read all for the game. Like, I'm a big fan of fake sports. It was fun. It was D&D fake sports. What more could you ask for? And then I started Arc 9 right afterwards. And it was really cool to see how much Grace grew as like a player. Because like Arc 4 was the first time she ever played a TTRPG. And the fact that like that's recorded and like memorial cool to me. And then seeing like how much she grew in her second season arc, you know what I mean. But as I mentioned, I'm very, very picky about my tabletop RPG podcast because I'm very picky about like the energy of a table that I'm at in a game. And that like super carries over. And so there was one player in season 9 that is like the energy that like puts me off from a table. And so it was like a little challenging to get through all of that and like kind of put me off from wanting to listen to any other arcs that they're a player on. So that was a little disappointing. But Grace was phenomenal. I'm so in love with her characters, like both of them, so fun. So yeah, that was a great time. What else do I have here? Oh, I reread the House Swap fic, which if anybody has access to my fic rec spreadsheet and or wants access to my fic rec spreadsheet, my Christmas tag is, I don't even know what it's called. I have to pull up my spreadsheet. Give me a second. Goodwill is sent in snapshots. You only get the full picture on return. But let me tell you about my feels. As I described, it's a house swap fic. Basically, Buck and Chim swap houses, meet, people. It's very Hallmarky. It's very fun. There's something else he did this week. What else did I had a meeting with Danielle and Burke at Icarus to work on some proof of concept stuff for a TV show that Danielle's working on. That was very fun. That was a good time. I did do that this week. Thank you. I forgot that was within the last 7 days. Time is a social construct. I'll talk about that more.
Yeah. That's like a perfect transition into what I was enjoying. If I might.
Liz, you're muted.
Please. I was just telling you, please go ahead and continue talking about If Time's Real.
Great. Perfect. I have been rewatching Doctor Who. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. The Tennant era. The 10th Doctor's years. Jumping around a bit because like I don't like all of it, but like who cares? So yeah, I've been watching Doctor Who and enjoying that. I haven't been like doing a lot else. It was a busy week. It was Thanksgiving. I had pies to bake. So
and please tell the people
so many pies.
How your pies turned out, because we were all invested in the process. We saw you made 4. We did not get any response output. So how did the pies land?
I think they landed great. Everybody's very nice in my family to your face. They might dislike something behind your back, but we'll never know. But I think 3 out of 4 of them were beautiful. One of them, I don't want to talk about. I don't know why it went the way it did.
Tell us about the pie, Marissa. Tell us what happened to that 4th pie.
I don't know. I did it correctly. I've been making it for years. But this is the thing. I made 2 pumpkin pies this year. I made like the regular pumpkin pie recipe I always make. And I made a new fancy pumpkin pie recipe. The fancy pumpkin pie recipe was perfect. It was like the most beautiful pie I've ever made. It was gorgeous. I was so proud of it. The like regular pumpkin pie that I've always made, horrible, disgusting, the ugliest pie. Like nasty. The crust like fell while it was par baking. It was, then the filling spilled. It was horrible. It was cracked. So I don't want to talk about that one. But the rest of them are great. There's pictures on my Instagram and like all the details. So that was the other thing I enjoyed, which was Claire Savitz's, because basically all of the recipes were Claire Savitz's recipes.
Shout out Claire.
Big fan.
Love to see it. What did I enjoy this week? Because it was not either of those things. It was definitely not Thanksgiving. I was watching everyone with these big dinners and was like, should I make a big turkey dinner? And then I was like, ha ha ha, hilarious.
I can't imagine you making a turkey on your own.
No, I also could not. So very much ate
turkey. Like we have a lot of leftovers, and I currently have my house to myself for the weekend, which means I'm stuck eating all the leftovers, and I'm like, I don't like turkey.
Our leftovers are almost gone.
Stomach?
Exactly.
Almost gone in your house, Marissa?
Oh, yeah. Like, my family likes Thanksgiving, and we like Thanksgiving
house. JJ is also eating pie. So good right now. I love it. This is a great time to do a check. What's everyone drinking this evening? Let's do a liquids check. I have my first liquid of the night, my Hydro Flask. What other liquids do you guys have? Show off your first liquid of the night.
I have
my first liquid,
as usual.
Grape juice.
Grape juice.
Grape juice flues.
And we know you are having a juice shortage pre-Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Technically my second beverage.
It's been resolved for now.
Slides on beverage too.
Okay, well, so I have 2 beverages on my desk, but that is because beverage number 1 was consumed while I was eating my frozen pizza for dinner because I couldn't handle any more leftovers. And it was a raspberry Comet Crisp cider. So we're coming in a little tipsy. It's fine. But I also have ice water, the norm.
Love.
And then the La Croix of the night. Oh gosh, this is going to bring the hell out of it.
I love it. I've heard this of Genovia themed La Croix. Ooh.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Actually,
LaCroix.
Key lime, but close enough.
Beautiful. I have a McDonald's iced coffee, but they just started doing Christmas cups or holiday cups. These are like lights. So it's a thrill. It was a thrill to receive this today. I was having a really nice time.
I have my coffee that I finished in the pre-show that is turning into Mia's closet in a like travel mug because the other thing that I did this week was go get a Christmas tree today.
Exciting.
Christmas time is here.
I was saying to you in the text earlier in the group chat, I love Americans who are so all about Christmas but refuse to put the Christmas tree up before Thanksgiving. So then the day after Thanksgiving, you get your Christmas tree and like your house is like Christmas within the span of an hour. Like I find that transition is so funny. Like every year I watch for my American friends, it's like Thanksgiving. And the next day it's like Christmas, like barfed in my house. And I'm like, I love it.
Our
Obsessed.
usual vibe is Thanksgiving Thursday. And then Black Friday we do not do. But what we do is go grab a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And we go to the Christmas tree farm and bring that and then decorate the tree. And then the Saturday is decorating the house. We're not decorating this year. So my parents went on a little fun road trip without me.
And you are doing frozen pizza and throwing an after party. And I respect that.
Exactly. Honestly, I think I'm having way more fun with y'all. So
hey, I love it. And I'm having so much fun. I love hearing what everyone's doing while they're watching the show. So let's just go through the comments really quick. Danielle does not eat turkey, but has brisket. I respect it. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Except on sandwiches. I think a ground like chicken or ground turkey with just everything on it. That's the only way I get through leftovers is like just grind it up.
We have leftover like rolls.
Yep.
And the only way I'll do turkey is if I break a roll in half, put turkey, and then put cranberry sauce on it, and then close the roll and eat it like a sandwich.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 or 5 bites of turkey. That's tolerable.
Love it. JJ's got a G&T and W. Love that.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you have a G and T and a W on the side,
Yes.
but if you have them all in one, that's also fun. Danielle's drinking water. I like, the limited edition. We have to pitch that.
Is
That
it
they do a
limited
Princess
edition?
Diaries version.
Oh, a
No,
Princess
the,
Diaries.
like
limited
royal
edition.
wedding.
Yeah,
Yes.
Limited edition.
Obsessed.
Yeah, Princess Diaries 2 Royal Wedding Edition. Honestly, it would sell out. That's so camp.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying World Cup. My whole life is World Cup right now. I've moved my work from home setup to the living room so I can watch while I work. And a couple of us have started moving meetings around to like have our meeting so it's not during a game, so we can do like intensive work and watch the game at the same time. I've actually had a really productive week because I'm working in 90-minute sprints. Like a game is 90 minutes split into 45-minute segments. So I'll be like, okay, by the end of like the first half, I want like ABC done. ABC is done in the first 20 minutes because then I want to watch the game. And then I'm like, okay, halftime, I'm going to get this thing done. Or not halftime, but like the break in between the halves when they were doing commentary.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a little thing done during the commentary. Boom, done. Like it's been an effective week. So thank you, World Cup, for adding a nice little cadence to my schedule. It's been very intense, but very Liz, very fitting. And I've been watching The White Lotus season 2. It is so intense. And if you're on Twitter, there's all these memes of like dancing memes just like from every era of the internet with the White Lotus theme song on top. And that's literally my household. We are dancing. Like we put that theme song on. We are into the White Lotus. It's quite the season. It's giving.
I'm an episode behind, and I feel like things really took a turn this week. Twitter took a turn this week.
It's really giving. It's really doing a lot. And it's one of those shows that's like you can't even talk about it because you just don't want to not do it justice. And it's also one of the shows that I'm so glad is coming out in a week by week cadence because so much happens every week. And I know I would just binge it in one sitting. So I'm so glad that it's like, no.
Yeah.
Like have this piece, sit with it for a week, and then we're going to feed you another piece. It's really beautiful to watch it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been enjoying that. Okay, what's the chat saying? World Cup is wild. Me and JJ. I see JJ. I see your tweets. You're all over World Cup too. I didn't think I'd care about World Cup, but I got roped into caring because everyone's talking about it. If you need a debrief before any of the games, my Twitter is usually full of stuff, or you can just DM me and be like, what's this about? I got you. Canada plays tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, and I'm going to be on my feet. Last time Canada played, I was so exhausted by like the start of the second half. I had to sit on the couch and mute the TV for 5 minutes because my heart was just going. It like wouldn't stop. So yeah, catch me on World Cup Twitter acting up. Also, happy Bones and All release week to all who celebrate. That's all I have to say about that at this time. With that, Alexis is not with us this week. We love you, Alexis, but Alexis did enjoy Dispatch 911 Leverage Redemption Season 2.
Hold on. I have a note about Dispatch 911 because Alexis started listening to this podcast and then texted me and said, hey, aforementioned fic writer, let me tell you about my feels is on the most recent episode. You should listen to it. So I went and looked it up, and that episode was 5 hours long. And I was like, that's a commitment. And then I was like scrolling through to see like who else has done the podcast. And I was like, you failed to mention that the first episode is featuring Had a Love, which, if you know anything about me, is I talk about, let me tell you about, tell me about despair. Sorry, words. Tell me about despair. I talk about that fic on a daily basis, at least twice a day. Like, I love that fic. It's my favorite fic of all time. Written by one, Had a Love, who also wrote the Kermit verse fics, which I fucking adore. Like, so many great fics. All of them. I've read all of them. They're all great. Anyways, and I was like, that's how you should have pitched the podcast to me, was Had a Love. I have not listened yet, so I have no idea what the vibe is. But Alexis is enjoying it, so.
Love that. We'll stay tuned for an update next week. If you tune in, we'll hold you accountable to that. If you get there,
I also got
5-hour
a spoiler. Episode. I asked for the spoiler, but I did get a spoiler for Leverage Redemption Season 2. And I'm mad about it. I'm glad Alexis told me because it would have been even more devastating if I had to experience that live. But yeah.
Okay. We'll
It
leave
has
it
to do with
ambiguous.
my favorite character. So
Okay, we'll leave it ambiguous and spoil it for others. How's that sound?
exactly.
And we'll transition into our rants of the week. And my thing won't save. Okay, that's fine. It's going to just say like that. I shall be presenting a final definitive absolute ranking of famous Chris's for my deck. And I realized that there will now be 2 Alpines on screen while I present this. It's fine.
It's fine.
Marissa?
Oh, well, speaking of the World Cup, I just need to talk about sports for a second.
Excuse me? What? Wow.
I'm adding a third Alpine to the screen.
Great. It's beautiful. Pile them on. Sly, what are you ranting about this week?
I am rating AO3 fic saving habits.
All right. This will be great. I'm very excited to hear your updated thoughts in 30-minute intervals. All right, friends, let's get into it. So the debate about who the best famous Chris is has been ongoing for some time. And then this week, it seemed like there was even more discourse around it with the Guardians of the Galaxy film that came out, the holiday special, and Chris Pratt just doing everything Chris Pratt's doing. And it's like it never ends. And then Chris Evans was the sexiest man of the year. So I was like, I am putting this to rest and doing a final definitive ranking of famous Chris's. And this is absolute lore for our show moving forward.
I've been watching a lot of sports. Why have I been watching sports? I do not intend to consume sports. I don't care about sports. And yet, the last 3 days have just been sports in my life. There is something about Thanksgiving being with extended family that I don't know if it's a Midwestern thing. I don't know if it's just a holiday thing, but there is always a sporting event on the television. Why is that happening to me? Why?
So when I'm talking about fic saving habits, I'm specifically referring to you find a fic, you want to read it, but you're not going to read it right now. What do you do with it? Number 1, the best option, obviously, is the tab graveyard. That's having a million tabs open with all the fics that you want to read. It's great for the ADHD bitches affectionate, right? If you can't see it, it doesn't exist. So just have 100 tabs with open fics. Perfect. No notes.
Everyone's muted.
There's 5 Chris's on this list. Get ready. In the number 5 slot, it's Chris Hemsworth. I think he's a fabulous Chris. The press this week about him taking a break from acting for his health, I think was really wonderful. And I really support him all the way. All right. In the number 4 spot, we have Chris Pine. I love Chris Pine. It's nothing against the man. I just think that there's some better Chris's out there.
Oh my God. Okay, so Thanksgiving Day, my family is from Michigan. The Detroit Lions football team plays Thanksgiving Day every single year, which means I have watched the Lions play football every single year of my life on Thanksgiving. This year, however, we watched 2 football games. Why? I don't know. The second game we didn't care about, and yet it was on, and we were paying attention.
All right, another option is mark for later. This is built into the site. It's how neurotypical people use AO3 apparently. You know what? I respect it. It's not for me, but if it works for you, it's fine. Some people will bookmark a fic and tag it TBR. That's a bit chaotic to me, but you do you. However, the people who just will open a fic and then go through their history, you're wrong.
If Chris Pine used a modern cell phone, I think I could move him up in the list. But with that said, I was doing a lot of research for the segment because I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing any Chris's. And I actually found a birth certificate website and found out there's a lot more famous Chris's than the public even knows about, including Chris Oscar Isaac, who I actually found his birth certificate while I was preparing for the show. And I know Chris Oscar Isaac has to be in my number 3 slot. I think he's one of my favorite actors of all time. Absolutely cracking the top.
I knew we were going there eventually. I just didn't expect it so soon. So anyway, we watched the Lions game. They played the Buffalo Bills. They lost. as is to be expected. Apparently, it was a very close game. I wouldn't know I was rolling pie dough. I just heard it for a long time. But then the second game, I think, was like Texas and then the New York Giants. I don't know. I don't know why it was on, but it was. Then, however, World Cup Day. Yesterday.
And you're using your history as your only way of finding the fics that you want to read. I don't know who you are. That is some next level. That's a choice. The next I have listed is like bookmarking the page, but like as a browser bookmark. That is so chaotic and I hate everything about it. But like I can't say you're wrong. I mean, I can feel you're wrong, but like, whatever.
So this very real birth certificate led me to the discovery of many more very real celebrity birth certificates, which leads to our number 2 slot, Chris Florence Pugh. Really a thrill to learn about Chris Florence Pugh. I like the spelling of this name. I think it's really cool. I understand why she shortened it to just Florence Pugh. Yeah, really exhilarating to find out Florence Pugh is in fact a famous Chris and landing in the number 2 slot. So the question is, who is our number 1 famous Chris?
Florence Pugh is my favorite Chris. So World Cup Day, yesterday, USA-England game. Nobody planned on watching it. The TV magically turned itself on. We all found ourselves sitting in front of it for the entirety of the game, all suddenly experts about soccer or football or whatever you want to call it. None of us have ever played it really outside of like elementary school, but we knew everything about that game and we cared. We cared a lot. And so that's all the sports I've been watching.
So here's the funny thing. I still have one more, but I want to use my time to point out how Liz is technically out of time because with 3 people, we end at 6 minutes. So we'll just never know who number 1 Chris is. But my last bookmark method is the Notes app. It's fine. If it works for you, it's great. No notes. I have nothing bad to say about it. So overall, the answer is whatever works for you, I respect and love. And go read fics. It's great.
I kind of love the lore that we'll never know who number 1 was on the list.
Is it Timothy Chalamet?
I'm with it. If the chat can guess who number 1, the number 1
Timothy
Chris
Chalamet.
is, it was not Timothy Chalamet.
Oh. It was not revealed. It was just revealed.
I just looked at it.
If the chat can guess, should I just say it?
No, save it. I love that they will never know.
Oh, okay.
It is themed. I'm gonna say because I think it's gonna make a lot of my points better later on. The number 1 Chris is Chrisanne Hathaway. Chrisanne Hathaway is Hollywood's best Chris, but she'll go by their Hollywood name of Anne Hathaway. So I'm thrilled for Chrisanne Hathaway. It was such a joy to outrank Chrisanne Hathaway over Chris Pine for tonight's episode in honor of the Princess Diaries too. And in fact, I can confirm through my vigorous research that Elizabeth Olsen is not a Chris and Harry Styles is not a Chris as well. Harry Styles did not spit on Chris Pine to increase his rankings in the famous Chris's. He's just not one of them and he never will be. Florence Pugh though, that explains some tension on set. She knew as Chris Florence Pugh that she outranked Chris Pine and outperformed him in that movie. So
Really?
Say love you.
Wow.
Now we know.
Speaking of the number 1 Chris, it's now time to talk about the Princess Diaries 2 royal engagement.
Hold on.
Hooray.
I'm being chaotic.
Absolutely.
I'm in charge.
You're in charge. The floor is yours. I pass it to you.
Thank you so much to Sly to pitching this idea where we all just pick a topic and take over the show. Because as always, I didn't really listen to instructions. It was supposed to be something that we wanted everyone else to watch that they probably had never watched before, or we had been like demanding them to watch, like the Clone Wars animated movie. I knew for a fact pretty strongly that everyone else had seen the Princess Diaries films, but I needed to talk about it. I need this space. I need this time. I need this community to have this conversation. And so I'm very excited to talk about the Princess Diaries 2 royal engagement. You might be asking yourself, why is it the Princess Diaries 2 royal engagement and not the Princess Diaries? And the
it's
answer
better.
is because it's better. The Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement is a better movie. I do love the Princess Diaries. I have a 24-inch poster of it. I wish I had a 24-inch poster of the second movie. It's just not made. I've been looking for it on the internet for a very long time. If anyone wants to make it for me, get in my DMs. So, why do I love the Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement? Where to even begin? I mean, it's a perfect film. Let's just say that off the bat. I was obsessed with this movie, like from the very beginning, from when it started. We're going to pretend Liz is still here. She is amazing. I was 7 years old when this movie came out in 2004. And I did not get to see it in the theaters because why would my parents take me to see it in the theaters? I didn't need to do that. What I did get is the CD of the movie's soundtrack for my birthday. It was from some extended family member. I don't really remember. I was a very princess-oriented child. I'm a very princess-oriented adult, let's be honest. I don't think they really understood what they were giving me, but they did give me the soundtrack CD for my birthday.
I did also, as a child, receive a soundtrack for a sequel Disney movie as a present from an extended relative, but mine was High School Musical 2.
Oh, slay.
The first CD I ever bought was the soundtrack to Cheetah Girls 2.
Oh, this is my night. I'm having a great time. So anyway, I had seen the first Princess Diaries because, Disney Channel movie night, of course. And so receiving the soundtrack for the second movie made me hyper aware of the second movie coming out. It had already been released in theaters because my birthday was after the movie came out. But it had not yet been screened on the Disney Channel. And in the weeks leading up to it being screened on the Disney Channel, they did all of these promos for it, all these behind the scenes promo things where Gary Marshall was talking about how you don't make Julie Andrews a soccer coach, you make her the queen of a foreign country.
Can I just quickly comment that era of Disney movie promo, early 2000s, unbeatable.
So good.
Set the standard that we may never see again.
Also, there's the song in the movie with Raven and Julie Andrews. They were playing the music video for that all the time. I was so excited for this movie to finally be played on Disney Channel. So excited, in fact, that I had a babysitter who had seen the movie that I would not relent. I needed to know everything about it. I needed to know, was it good? Was this song it? I went through the track list on the soundtrack and I was like, is this song in the movie? Is this song in the movie? Is this song in the movie? I needed to know everything she knew about the movie that she could tell me. So anyway, I've been obsessed with this movie since it came out. I love it very much. And I don't care that I didn't follow the assignment because I think this is going to be an iconic conversation. That being said, I would love to know, I know already, but I would like Liz and Sly to explain publicly their own histories with the movie and how they felt revisiting it. I didn't really revisit because I watch it every 2 months.
Well, we did talk last week about we should sit down and make a Venn diagram of our tastes, and I believe the only thing that will ever fall in the middle is the Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement, specifically number 2. I movie 1 is fine. It's not my favorite. Let me just say, I owned a physical DVD copy of Princess Diaries 2 and not Princess Diaries 1. So it's very clear where this movie stands, in my opinion. This movie, we all know I love Another Cinderella Story, and I watched that movie religiously growing up and still do. And in high school, I started watching that movie so much that I was like, okay, I can only watch this so many times a week before it's a problem. And so I started alternating Another Cinderella Story and Princess Diaries 2. So I would just go back and forth between those two movies whenever I needed background noise. So going into this, I haven't watched it in a couple months, and I sat down and my first thought was, I don't think I actually need to rewatch this movie because I know it so well, but I was excited for the excuse to watch it. And then I quoted verbatim over half the movie as it was going. So like I had a blast with this. I'm so excited you made us watch this. I am a little salty that you did not follow instructions, but I'll forgive you only because it's Princess Diaries too.
I want to read the text message that I received from Sly when I told everyone that I wanted to do the Princess Diaries. Hold on. Where is it?
I don't even remember what I said. I'm sure it's salty.
Oh, okay. Bestie, I spent all of high school alternating watching Another Cinderella Story and Princess Diaries 2. I've seen it at least 15 times. To which I replied in all caps, I don't care. I want to talk about it.
Which is our relationship in a nutshell. I love that for us.
Okay, Liz, you have a different story.
I have a very different story because I know that I watched this movie. Fact. Also, I feel like very weird on screen on this side of the screen because I'm looking in a different direction than I normally am. So if you see me doing this, it's because I'm like looking at myself and looking at you, and I'm like my head doesn't understand. I need to look the other way. It's fine. I have definitely seen both movies 1,000%, but not since 2004. Like I don't know if I ever rewatched either of these movies because we were like Cheetah Girls household. Like we were so Cheetah Girls, loved the Cheetah Girls, loved High School Musical. I don't know why we never, or if we did anyway, didn't stick in my memory. So when you put up this movie, I was thrilled because for me, this is the first rewatch I've had in like 15 years, probably, which is insane. It's insane to me. I know. So my experience today was, I reread the Sparks notes of the first movie and was like, no, I should really just watch the first movie because I want the setup for the second one because I didn't remember any of the first movie. And then I was looking at the clock and I made 30 minutes into the first one. And I was like, I have to just go into the second one so I have enough time. And then I started the second one and it starts with a recap of the first movie. And I was like, damn it, why didn't anyone tell me? And then sure enough, I go into the notes and Sly's like first note is, I love the recap that they do at the start of the movie. So really it was me, I played myself. If I had just seen the show notes, if I had taken a little peek, then I would have known to just start with the second one. But I was trying not to spoil anything for myself so I could have a really fresh set of eyes without anyone else's commentary. So
I will say my exact note in the doc was that this movie has one of the most brilliant recap / time jumps in a sequel ever, and I stand by that. And I believe that is the take that needs to be shared.
No, it's like the perfect amount of exposition where it tells you what happened in the first one, what relationships and characters will not be reappearing in the second one. Correct. Lays the groundwork for what's happened in the time in between. It's like the perfect, without being like heavy-handed and being like, this is my grandma. She's the queen of Janelle. Like, it's so good. And plus it uses like the device of the diary. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I love how it emphasized that the guy from the first movie is irrelevant now.
Michael.
There's so many Disney movies that like force the love interest to stay relevant past like the mark where they should be relevant still. And the fact that she was like, we've moved on. We're doing different things now.
Arguably he was barely relevant in the first film.
True. I mean, it's like junior year of high school guy you go on a date with who's your best friend's brother. College graduate. Like, I don't think a lot of people will be in the same place, like romantic styles in that 5 years.
I do have to say that's one of my major, just not to jump ahead of your own transition, Marissa, but that's one of the things I loved the most about this movie was how, like, the feminism of this movie was, like, I wouldn't say it was ahead of its time, but it kind of was in terms of some of the other story arcs we were getting from Disney Channel and similar companies at that same time. Like, this movie was so about her independence and not needing a man. And we didn't get narratives like that across the board.
So important, especially looking at the time frame in which it came out. This being a movie that was 3 years after the original, but jumping 5 years in universe, it kind of was a little older than the target audience, which gave a lot of people something to look up to in such an interesting way.
Beautiful. Beautifully said.
Yeah. Super quick before we continue, I want to address a few things in the comments. No, I have not read the books. Yes, I know that the second movie is extremely inaccurate to the books. I don't care.
Books are fine.
I tried to read the books. I don't know what it was about them. I didn't even make it for the first one. I also tried to read the Cheetah Girls books. I made it a little bit farther with the Cheetah Girls books, but those are totally different to the movies. And then the other thing in the comments, do we all know the importance of Julie Andrews singing in this movie? Like how huge it was? Oh, we surely do. We surely do. Julie Andrews had a vocal surgery in the 90s, totally destroyed her voice. She was never going to sing again, ruined her vocal range. Not that she physically couldn't sing again, but she was so like emotionally devastated by like losing an octave of her range that she just didn't want to do it. Gary Marshall asked her to sing in this movie, and she was like, I really don't think I can. And then she did it, and it's like truly a bop. Like, Crown and Glory is an amazing song. I know all the words. I listen to it unironically. It's in several of my playlists. I also
have a note about this, if I can find it.
This movie has.
I get this song stuck in my head all the time. I start humming Crown and Glory all the time, at least once a month.
This movie also has so many iconic songs that you heard in every single movie from this era. It has the breakaway Kelly Clarkson moment.
The breakaway needle drop. Oh,
so good.
God.
It's got every time. What's the one about being Supergirl?
That's the first movie.
Is that the first movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I heard that one and was like, I have not thought about this song. Like
that movie was used. That song was used a lot.
Yeah.
That one.
But the soundtrack is just such a time capsule. It's incredible.
There's a reason I was given it for my birthday. It's an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah, it should be put in the Smithsonian.
But truly. Speaking of things that we love about it, let's get into some like roses and thorns. However, I rebranded. And now it's popcorn and pears because pear-flavored popcorn is a Genovian specialty. And I left it up to the individual to decide if the pear was the positive or the popcorn would be the positive. I intended for the popcorn to be the positive and the pear to be the negative. That's not how everyone interpreted it, but that's okay.
Some of us don't like popcorn.
And some of us don't like pears. And you can tell who's married on this show based on who picked what. We do really badly with the rebrand. If you have not picked that up, it was great.
Yep.
Shall we read out Alexis's maybe to start?
Sure.
I would like to claim spousal privilege.
Yeah. We should say that Alexis had intended to make it to this episode, and she unfortunately couldn't. So she's got a lot of notes that we want to acknowledge throughout this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Our pairs, our positives for this movie. For Alexis this movie is all caps so pink, which
so pink.
Fair. There's a lot of pink.
So pink.
If you can't tell by Marissa.
No, Marissa, you dressed for the episode. Yeah.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love to see it. And then my pair positive for this movie is that I can quote over half of this movie verbatim, and it wasn't so much me watching this movie, but me reciting this movie, and that's fun for me.
Yeah.
Love that.
I love it.
My popcorn, which was my positive, just to team popcorn, starting off strong, was that I forgot how early 2000s movies were still in the 90s, 80s style of cinematography where they really lean into long scene transitions and fewer camera cuts. Like there was like a moment where her two ladies in waiting like turned down her bed and you saw them turn down the bed and then walk over and the camera pans with them. And then she's on the couch and they're like, oh, we've turned down the bed. And then they leave the room and the camera follows them like almost all in one shot. And it was the same when I was watching the first movie again, and she enters into the embassy, and it was like she was behind the door and she walked into the room and saw the whole room, and it was one shot. Like, you don't see that kind of filmmaking anymore. It's like a cut and a cut and a cut to save every second and add more plot. But this leaned into it in such a joyful way that you felt the world building so much more, and it gave the side characters so much more oomph because they weren't just on the side. They were still in all the moments, even if their role was smaller. So I really enjoyed watching a movie again that like leaned into the downbeat so nicely.
I love a long shot so much.
Yeah.
I think when they're done well, they just add so much richness to the story in such an interesting way. And we hardly ever see them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, as you were saying that, I was thinking about like this genre done now, the like teen rom-com style, like very fast, very jumpy, very like the like youthful energy is now like boom, 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 boom. Where like I think like part of the like regal feeling of this like comes from those long shots, those more tracking shots type. Love it. We love it.
Yep.
My popcorn, my positive, is the whole thing. This movie is perfect.
Just the fact that you get to do this right now. This is the popcorn.
Yeah. But I will say, my negative, is the only thing that I could think of to critique this movie is that it is very white feminist, which for its era is not necessarily a bad thing. It was, as a mainstream whatever movie.
I think white feminism has always been a bad thing, but I think in terms of feminism in children's movies, this was like a good step in having any representation.
Right. Well, it's also, I mean, it was the feminism of the era. I mean, yes, it's white feminist, but it's like the umbrella beyond that, which is very much like girl power, like you can do anything, like women rule the world kind of energy, which is inherently not a bad thing. It's just there is room for critique beyond that. And like there were a lot of opportunities to expand the scope of who was represented on screen in all aspects. So I think like if I could make this movie now, that is the thing that I would change about it. Because like I believe it's perfect and there's nothing wrong with it. And so like looking for something to critique, I thought about like, well, if it was made today, if I was making it, what would I want to improve? And that's it. I would decide with like different types of people.
Sly, go ahead.
Yeah, so Alexis and I's popcorn negative is she stole mine, which is fine. But it's straight.
Yeah.
Like
it's exclusively straight.
It is pretty specifically very straight in every single character besides Right On Dude.
Right On.
Like that is like the only like taste of anything not straight. I also have like, we'll talk about it later, but I have like a little bit of issues with the whole like love triangle, etc., how that's handled and dealt with and presented. But mostly it's straight. And that's the biggest negative of this film.
My pair.
So serious. It's an academic critique that everyone needs to take very seriously.
Why? Why? I know there were better glasses in 2004, 2003 than this. They don't even sit on his nose nicely. It doesn't.
I am personally offended by his glasses in that scene.
As you should be. Like, I don't know what they were going for because I can't even.
They were going for nice guy, approachable. He's reading a book. He's trekking in with her.
Yeah.
He's like not scary, intimidating, stuffy dude. They did not succeed. Those glasses are horrendous.
These glasses are a crime.
It's
They
no
are a
cheat.
crime. And I don't want them on the screen anymore.
Illegal.
I choked when it's the fit. The fit of the glasses and like the shape of the glasses are so wrong for his face. And you know, you've seen him in sunglasses in so many movies. I feel like my new theory is that he was so scarred by this movie that now when he has to wear glasses on sets, he has like a glasses stylist to be like, find glasses that fit and look good on my face, because this is so the way Marissa feels about wigs, I feel about these glasses. I don't want them. And it's not to say if you have these glasses, they're bad glasses. That's not what offends me. It's they don't work on this face. They don't fit on this face. They don't look natural on this face. It's a 0 out of 10 for me with these glasses. It's just, nope.
Hard agree.
You said glasses stylist, and that made me think about Daniel Radcliffe and how whenever he has to wear glasses in a movie, he has to be like aggressively specific that they don't look anything like the Harry Potter glasses, to his detriment. Because can I just say, the first photos of his costuming for the Merrily We Roll Along production at New York City Center, the glasses are not glassing. The frames are like it's basically my glasses, which is sort of Harry Potter-ish, except the like top half is like
Isn't it angled
turtle shell
Yeah.
and thick. It's so thick that it covers like his whole eyebrow, and it like on stage, all you're gonna see is just like half
Glasses.
turtle shell. You don't even see his eyes. So that's a costuming critique I have about Merrily We Roll Along, which is not relevant to this conversation.
I think it's very relevant to this conversation.
Well, thank you very much.
It's your
There's-
show. You can do whatever you want.
There's no transition to what comes next.
I need to address JJ's comment, which is he's so pretty that seeing something out of place was really nice. But was that the intent behind the choice? No. If that was the intent behind the glasses, I would agree with you. But that they put these glasses on this man to make him look like an intellectual while he was holding that book.
Glasses make almost everyone look hotter. Those glasses do not make him look hotter.
I now need to find a photo of Chris behind wearing glasses.
Well, while you do that, let's fill some time by talking about
Oh, I found many
this
immediately.
is a very quotable movie. I don't know if it's a very
yeah.
quotable movie to everyone or if it's just a very quotable movie to me because I know every line of this film. But, I mean, I'm still quoting this movie. I've been quoting it since the day I saw it. And I thought we should just I didn't think this. This was already part of the show format. We're going to go through some of our favorite quotes from the film. Everyone else wrote 1. I wrote 5. So I don't really know how to do this.
You start.
Hold on.
Okay.
I have 17 quotes in my notes.
Well, you
Would
didn't
you like
put
me
them
to
where they
read all
belong.
of them?
I would like you to read more than just the one that you put in this section, for sure.
Okay.
I will say, probably the one that I use in my real life the most frequently, aside from I never slide, which is what she says in the first movie, Queen Clarice, a queen is never late. Everyone else is simply early. I use that every day of my life because this queen is always late. Actually, everyone else is simply early. But I mean, I use that to slide before the show. Like, I use it all the time.
I did put that in my notes, and we have a funny story behind that quote being in my notes, because I was typing out my notes in the Google Doc in real time, as I do, because we love chaotic energy here.
Oh, yes.
And I was watching this movie, I'm typing out my little notes, we get to a scene, let's see if y'all can figure out what scene it is, and I just go, she's so stunning, ugh. because I was just like, wow, my heart. And then immediately followed it up with, quote, a queen is never late. And then I get a text from the one and only Miss Abobissa in the infamous group chat saying that I said that about Anne Hathaway. And I was like, excuse you? I was very obviously referring to the Queen Clarice golden birthday dress.
I thought it was later. I was trying to watch the World Cup and put notes in the doc at the same time, and it really wasn't working because like I thought that more time had passed. Whatever. Sly had a lot to say about that entrance, basically. More than I expected.
Great entrance.
Great entrance.
I said, I just watched Sly in real time, right? She's so stunning, ugh, about Anne Hathaway. To which they replied, excuse me? And I was like, I'm so sorry. Was it about Julie? And they're like, yes, it was.
To be fair,
She's also
though,
stunning.
Dame Julie Andrews.
We're talking about the opening birthday sequence, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
To be fair, this is also a sleigh.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We had the photo and I feel like this was the moment. This is also a sleigh.
100%. Absolutely.
But Sly stands absolutely correct.
Sly, what do you quote from this movie all the time?
So many. The next one I have written in my notes is it cracked me up. It was during the Parliament scene where Dame Julie Andrews goes, shut up, and one of the options for the translation of like what she meant
colloquially,
thank
yeah.
you,
Horrible
by that
word.
was oy vey.
Yeah.
And I was like,
but immediately before that is golly gee. Oh my, super, fantastique, golly gee, ove. It's just fantastic. I would never sass you, grandma.
I don't have that many quotes, but I do now have more photos of Chris Pine wearing glasses. So I would like to take an opportunity, instead of saying a quote, to show you a photo of Chris Pine wearing glasses that don't offend me.
Look at what we could have had.
It clearly identifies the problem, which is the shape of the frame on the face. Like, do you see how wide that frame is versus how small this frame is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good look.
I have more, but I'll pass the rotation, and next time it comes back to me, we can look at yet another photo of Chris Pine wearing glasses.
Again, I have 17 quotes in my notes.
We gotta get going.
Sorry. I'm just gonna skip over and just do all the Julie Andrews quotes. Nepotism belongs in the arts, not in plumbing.
Wait. I had that in my notes too.
Sorry.
I had that in my notes too, but do you know what this means?
Huh.
Plumbing Corner is back, baby! Plumbing Corner is back! I made a whole banner for this just for Sly. Does nepotism belong in plumbing or just the arts? It is up to us to decide as we finally find a way to bring Plumbing Corner back to this show.
Sirens.
Furthermore,
sirens.
Is cartoon Bucky Barnes in the shower an example of nepotism, of plumbing, and the arts? I think yes. And if you're very confused, this is a deep cut to a show we did over a year ago about Bucky Barnes in the shower during an episode of What If and the plumbing making no sense.
I just, behind the scenes, Liz texted us right before the show and said to me specifically to not look in a certain section of behind the scenes when I joined the platform. And I'm assuming it's this.
Plumbing Corner is back!
No, I looked at the folder and it was one banner and I was like, what? Because I thought it was going to be like 6 or something. I thought it was going to be like all of her rankings of the Chris's, and it was one banner and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I can't wait to find out.
That's so iconic. I love this moment. I'm so glad you did this just for me personally.
And
Plumbing Corner.
This is your first Plumbing Corner as a host on the show. I want to hand the floor over to you to answer the question of. Sorry, Marissa, I completely hijacked your show.
You kept saying you had so much planned for this episode, and I was like, it's my episode.
This is the last surprise I have up my sleeve. I promise that it's all you, baby. Sly. I'm waiting for it to show up at the bottom of the screen. Is cartoon Bucky Barnes showering an example of nepotism of plumbing and the arts? And the quote we're comparing to from Princess Diaries 2 is nepotism belongs in the arts, not in plumbing.
I would say that nepotism does not belong in either. But if you are going to have it in one, I would much prefer it in arts rather than plumbing. I think plumbing should be handled by the professionals. I stand by like the two things that you absolutely do not DIY is plumbing and electrics. Don't do it. And yes, cartoon Bucky Barnes showering is a great example of nepotism in both plumbing and in the arts.
Decided.
And I will stand by that statement.
Co-sign,
I love this so much. If you haven't seen the What If episodes, go back and watch them. See all of my chaotic comments. I had such a good time. My favorite thing I have done for this show at all ever in the history, it's by forcing Liz and Alexis and then later Marissa to talk about plumbing legitimately every week of What If.
It's true. And I have been waiting. I've been sitting and waiting for the perfect opportunity to pounce a plumbing corner on you. And when that quote was said in the movie, I had it written in my notes and I was like, no, erase it from the notes because Sly will find it. I'm just going to pounce and bring it the second that it comes up. So we shall close plumbing chapter for this week. You never know when it will return.
Wow.
Marissa, I promise that's the end of my chaos.
I love it. I love it.
I do have one more photo of Chris Pine in glasses, but you do know that's coming, and that wasn't planned. So my planned bits are now done.
Okay. Oh, I love it. Speaking of love, one of my favorite quotes, one of my favorite scenes is "I loathe you. I loathe you." Just smacking each other with like fans and a rolled up magazine, like, "Sir, you are assaulting the heir to the throne of the kingdom of Genovia." He's
Your
like,
Royal Highness.
I loathe you. And then he pulls her into a fountain. Like, slay. Slay.
Slay.
What else do you have from Slay?
I have one more quote. Can I say it quickly rather than doing another plumbing corner?
Please.
Maybe I don't know if we talked about this one already because I was distracted by the plumbing corner thing that I knew I had to do. When the villain self-identifies at the top of the movie and he goes about like stealing the crown and he goes, she walks away and he goes, "Someone like me." I was like, yum, 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 yum. I love it. I love it. I love when a villain looks at the camera and goes, "I'm the antagonist of the next 2 hours." I go, thank you for a clear identification of what's happening. I don't like a sneaky villain. They sneak up on you. So that was great.
Yeah, classic Disney villain. Classic Disney villain. Just like twirling his mustache, demanding hot water for his feet. Incredible.
Ugh, poor Gretchen. I fucking love Gretchen.
Poor Gretchen. A great quote. Gretchen, hot water.
I'm okay. I have an honorable mention that goes to I just love to look at him during the PowerPoint night. We love a PowerPoint night.
Yeah.
And then another honorable mention to legitimately everything Joe says in this entire movie, but specifically, I offered to have him hung by his toes in our courtyard.
Oh, I also love, would it make you feel better if you could call me Joey? She's like, no, Joe. So sweet.
He's a fantastic character.
Speaking of fantastic characters, Lily Moscovitz. Icon. Best quote. Lily Moscovitz, best friend of Princess Mia, riding in the Stang. And then it has to be immediately followed up. Prettiest girls riding in the Stang.
Oh, Captain Kelly, my love. I'm so obsessed with him. You have no idea.
There's a lot of announcing in this movie. Like everything is announced. There's like the staff banger guy, and then there's him. It's everything has to be declared before it happens. I love it.
The potty one during the slumber party. I forget the name of the princess.
Princess Ami has to go
potty. And it's just quiet. No, and then they just like return to the party and it's an Avril Lavigne song. Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
So good.
That the transition of that with the music playing, and it's the last two downbeats of the song in time with the staff is one of the most iconic like musical moments.
Yeah,
it's so good.
1000%.
So good. Oh, I only have one left, but Sly, what else do you have for us?
No, you have to do yours, and then I'll do mine.
Is that your last one?
I
don't have anything more to cover.
I have so many more, but I think that's the last one I want to mention.
Okay, I love it.
Oh no! Hold on, I do have one more, and it is everything that comes out of the Viscount's mouth. Also an honorable mention, but specifically during the parade. Kissing children, hugging orphans. What a vulgar, low, despicable political trick.
Oh. Speaking of the Viscount.
Truly.
The biggest sleigh. Joe's icon moment. Disney legend status. If you hurt my girl, just know I have diplomatic immunity in 46 countries, including Puerto Rico.
Followed by the Viscount saying, Sir, you will find that the word fear is not in my vocabulary.
Perhaps, but it's in your eyes. So good.
That just gave huge MC University energy.
It really did. I was like, are we in drama class right now?
I had to redeem myself. I did not have a great performance in drama class on MC University.
It's fine. We just released the Fanforstic episode with Alexis.
Yes.
And definitely go check out that MC University where we talk about the impact of that movie on race relations in the South.
Wow.
Incredible. Can't
wow.
Wait.
It's a great episode.
Speaking of Alexis, did we read off her quote?
Oh my God.
We didn't.
It's
but
an iconic one.
I love this. I did mention, I teased on the social medias, as you will, that I was going to mention, but make it scary, an ungodly amount. I did mention it twice in my notes while rewatching this movie because it's the first time I've seen it since listening to the Princess Diaries 2 episode of But Make It Scary, which is very good. Everybody go listen to it immediately, please. It's delicious. But during this movie, every time I was like, oh my God, the pear tree. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. All these references to the podcast. Go listen to it. And one of them that cracked me up was Alexis's quote pull, which is, oh God, I scrolled past it. Oh no.
It wasn't her.
It wasn't her. It was a ghost.
Woo!
Brigida, love of my life.
Oh.
This is a question. As I'm hijacking Marissa's show now, are we Team Brigitte or Team Brigida?
Why not both?
Fair.
Which one has the American accent? That one.
Brigitte, I think.
The blonde one.
I dig
that
Brigida.
Was Brigida.
Do I have them mixed up?
Brigitte, well, whoever, the blonde one who says it wasn't her, it was a ghost. Ooh. That one.
I think that's Brigida.
Okay, that's mine.
Love.
Yeah, Brigida icon. We stan.
Yeah. Wow. Iconic movie.
True.
Iconic movie. And you know what? Genovia, iconic country. Does it make a lot of sense, though?
Our first question of the night.
Oh my god,
Our second question of the night.
I didn't even get to the most important part of this movie.
Oh?
It's not just my favorite movie. It's my favorite Marvel movie.
Oh, of course.
I mean, it
Naturally.
canonizes Genovia as part of the MCU.
It does.
Because this movie has a random ass, unexplained Stan Lee cameo.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Which therefore makes it an MCU movie. At one point, like immediately post WandaVision, I was rewatching the MCU. And in the middle of it, I rewatched this movie just because like I needed a breather from like violence. And I was like, oh my god, Stan Lee's in this movie. I haven't interrupted my MCU rewatch at all. It's all within the same canon. So
where would you place this movie in the MCU timeline? Would you also place Princess Diaries, like the first one?
I mean, they're 2001 and like 2005, 6 theoretically, which are both pre-Iron Man. So like, I would say that Mia is the Queen of Genovia for the entirety of the MCU as we know it.
It's true because Iron Man only came out in 2008.
Yep.
So
I put both of them post Hulk 2003 and pre Hulk 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man came out before that, didn't it?
Yes.
Pre Iron Man.
Iron Man was the first one. But anyway, this is my favorite Marvel movie, and Mia Thermopolis is my favorite Avenger. Speaking of, I'm just trying to politics, Genovia, the monarchy. Does it make any sense? No, not entirely. Does it matter?
Not really.
No, it's mostly there for aesthetics, and like that's what makes it a sleigh. But Sly, you care about the configuration of this monarchy. Please explain.
I do. I'm not a big monarchy person. I would not say I'm a royalist. You know, as we are American, we're pretty anti-monarchy just by nature. But I have been recently hyperfixating on a little show never mentioned before called Young Royals, which ended up with me researching a lot of the structure of monarchies in general, specifically the Swedish monarchy for obvious reasons. But it was really interesting to me in that research to look at the culture surrounding monarchies in various countries. Like, obviously, the most well referenced is the British monarchy. That's like mostly what this is based on. And that has, you know, a very established history of a very specific and detailed line of succession that power is only transferred upon death, which is an interesting take. But there are some countries that I think specifically like the Dutch monarchies have a much more liberal use of abdication, and it's more of a celebration than a like period of mourning, and it's like bringing in the new heir and like younger person into this position of like figurehead and power, which is really interesting. And I really dug that this, you know, movie strongly canonized Genovia as a monarchy that strongly believes in abdication.
Yeah. I mean, they love it.
And I learned the definition of that word before the show tonight.
I mean, technically, Liz, Canada had a king that abdicated, like
that doesn't
less than 100 years ago.
We're not born with that information implanted in our skulls just because
like
I live
Commonwealth history is sort of relevant, but
Can we address JJ's comment?
I don't want to think about it.
Because
I don't want to think about it.
I have a
was
theory.
specifically ignoring this comment.
I don't want to think about
But
it.
I would like to share
because
my
in my
take.
heart I know it was Joe, and I don't want to
No,
think
I
about that.
I want to share my take. Okay, imagine this movie. Imagine this exact plot, right? And she gets flipped. But you know who doesn't? Short King. You know
Prince
the
Jacques?
kid? The kid?
Prince Jacques?
Jock?
He doesn't
Beans?
get
From Even Stevens?
he does not get flipped. And I don't know what age he's canon to this movie, but in my version of the movie,
Well,
where
He's 12.
Okay, but in my version of the movie, okay, let's say he's like 14, okay, or let's say he's 15. The blip happens. He's what, like 19, 20 when they all come back? He's a suitor for her. He's like eligible. He's like 20-year-old man, not like a teenager. That would be crazy.
A choice.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy. I would like my mind would be
There's
blown.
so much math that's wrong about that. But go off. Pop off.
That's my take. That would be a crazy movie. And then all of a sudden he's
Yeah.
involved in it's a love square. It's like he's also trying to
That's not how love squares work.
well
I love
Okay.
a love square.
I'm done. I'm done with this theory.
I just need to state for the record that when I say I love a love square, I am specifically referring to the event where we have two main characters.
Oh, that's not
Main
what I was
character
referring to.
A and B
Yep.
fall in love in this specific context, but also know each other in a separate context. And the separate context, they also fall in love. And then both of them are conflicted because they're in love with A and B, not knowing they're the same person. To me, that is what is a love square. And I do
Oh.
love that trope.
Didn't know
Yeah.
that was what that was. I just thought it meant like one person with a whole bunch of people interested in him. So no, apparently I'm very wrong.
That's not a concentration of attraction. Because, like,
Oh.
honestly, have you heard Alexis's argument about a love triangle isn't a triangle because they're not all attracted
It's a
to each
love
other?
angle.
Oh.
It's
I
just the
see.
angle.
I
I
get it.
stand by the only time a love triangle is good is if A, every single person involved in said triangle is bisexual, and B, it ends in polyamory. That's the only time to have a love triangle. It's the best use case.
But also, Sly doesn't read poly ships.
I don't. Except for I
Moving
may have
on.
been
Wait,
lately.
no.
This is perfect transition. This is a perfect transition because we need to talk about enemies to lovers, the iconic trope of this film.
I would like to can I say something? My hand is up so high. You can't even put my hand. Please, can I say something?
Elizabeth Duff, go.
I'm just kidding. That would like be way too loud. So as the self-reigning owner of enemies to lovers in very hyper-specific contexts on
You
this show.
don't have a
Yes,
monopoly.
proceed.
No. I said in hyper-specific context.
Okay,
As in,
yes.
I only read enemies to lovers.
Yes.
Right, I don't have range. I
Yes.
exclusively live in enemies to lovers, and I live in even more niche lanes of enemies to lovers, and I don't read outside of that.
Yes.
I can see how this movie, not Princess Diaries 1, but this movie was the blueprint for Gen Z millennial cusp writers writing enemies to lovers, because there is so much of this movie that is so distinct that it cannot be a copy or a play off of another Disney plot. It is specific to this movie, and I have read it an infinite amount of times. I was watching Chris Pine and hearing Draco Malfoy. Like, it was one person. So I would like to thank Princess Diaries 2 for informing so much of what I currently read, have continued to read, because it's incredible the impact this movie
I
had.
just need
Iconic.
to applaud Marissa for perfectly timing this film coming out directly after our last episode where I forced you all to sit down and hash out exactly what we define.
I was
as
very
enemies to
inspired by
lovers.
it. I was very inspired by it. And I think this fit the blueprint perfectly.
Absolutely. It is textbook enemies to lovers. It's well done.
And may I say, the best part of their use of enemies to lovers is the fact that it's grown respect. And between her and what's his face, the Duke that she's gonna marry,
Andrew Jacoby, Duke of Kenilworth.
Okay,
not a real
him.
place.
It's also about respect because he doesn't disrespect her in the whole process, and then he ends his arc by saying, like, you know, thanks for helping me make like a choice that others would like basically see as disrespectful, right? Like he wanted to do the respectful thing, the noble thing, whatever, right? So I really liked how respect was such a pillar of those plots. Like to me, that's what makes enemies to lovers so good. It's not just like angst. It's do they view them as a real person? So that was cool.
Yeah,
Is this where I go on my love triangle rant?
But they were never attracted to each other.
Finish your thought. I'll get to it.
Okay. This like enemies to lovers arc has like initial attraction, which is like has no caveats or like addendums as to why they shouldn't be attracted to each other. Then new information, immediate enemy. But are they actually my enemy? And growing back to respect with the undertone of attraction the whole time. I don't know why I needed to say that, but I needed to say that.
You're right. You're so right. That is 100% worthy of being said. My problem with the romance in this film specifically is kind of twofold. One, I really like Andrew Jacoby, and so it's hard for you to convince me to care about Chris Pine, especially because he has zero intrinsic motivation throughout the entire writing of his character throughout this film. All of his motivation is extrinsic. It makes him feel flat and like a fake person. And I get why time constraints, blah 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 blah. But for him,
but he's hot. He doesn't need to be interesting.
I'm too ace for that. And so that was one of my biggest problems. I know it's just that he's hot. She likes him because she's attracted to him. I just don't see it, and I understand that. And so that's my first problem. The second problem is I understand it is a marriage with convenience. It is an arranged marriage. This is the plot device of the entire movie. I get that. But it still feels like cheating. And I'm touchy about that in my media, especially. And so I don't vibe with that regardless. Like, even if they're my faves, like, I had strong feelings about some events that happened in season 2 of a show I might have mentioned once or twice already today. I just like anytime something happens that feels like cheating to me in my definition of how I perceive the characters and their dynamics, it squicks me a little bit. And so that is another hurdle for me to appreciating the romance of this movie. I realized while rewatching that I forgot they even got together at the end. I thought that the movie ended at the coronation scene because I honestly do not care about him and them getting together. And like that whole storyline, I blipped out of my brain.
Well, I mean, that's a good point, is that like the accomplishment of the movie, the goal of the movie is not happy ever after, like girl gets boy, whatever. Right. Like the goal of the movie is to become queen and like whatever means necessary to achieve that. Like the big celebration is not like the marriage or the like final kiss or confession or whatever. The celebration is the coronation. Like that's what the movie is about. So I think that is a way that it really succeeds, which leads me into my next conversation point. Girl boss who gets the guy. Like, she's a girl boss who also has like her rom-com happy ever after, which is very of its era, very early 2000s, mid 2000s, even early 2010s. Let's be real.
It doesn't even matter that his kitchen is all out of chickens.
It doesn't matter that his kitchen is out of chickens. This is what I should have said is my pair for this movie, is that she doesn't say she loves him back. And that really bothers me. Like, that's one of my main complaints. I'm like, I just want her to say that she loves him back. But whatever. So, we have to talk about Mia Thermopolis being an independent girl boss and writing her own story. And, you know, Parliament says she has to get married in 30 days at the age of 21 in order to become queen.
Listen, they might just be a cult.
I mean, it's a lot of old men. Isn't that what it always is?
If you're keeping track, that is the second but make it scary reference of the night.
I love it. I love it. Okay. I don't know what
She's a girl boss.
Yeah, she's a girl boss.
There's no denying that she is girl boss.
She's
as
girl
raised by a mother who is a girl boss.
Yes.
Who has a mother-in-law that is a girl boss. So it's a lot of girl bossing in this movie. Best friend, girl boss. The staff, girl boss. The girl
Charlotte,
staff.
Charlotte.
The other friends,
girl
the other
boss.
people like Raven and the other princess, they're
girl boss.
That whole sleepover, like this whole sleepover situation, is just girl boss after girl boss. Everybody
honestly,
there.
Even Lady Alyssa, girl boss.
Girl boss.
True.
Absolutely.
He doesn't want diamonds in their braces.
No, that's somebody else.
I'm just.
Oh yes.
Liz is talking about the party.
Yes. All girl bosses.
All of them.
I mean, really, it should be called the Girl Boss Diaries.
The Girl Boss Diaries. Slay. Love.
When we make merch, that needs to be
Girl Boss Diaries. Oh my god.
You guys, I'm having such a good night for transitions. Speaking of girl bosses, all the girl bosses, we have to celebrate some supporting characters. This movie has iconic supporting characters. Speaking of girl boss, Dame Julie Andrews.
1000%.
Arguably her best role. Oh,
Absolutely.
Look at that.
100%.
The fit is slaying.
I think it's really hard to call this Dame Julie Andrews' best role.
I think it's hard to not.
When Sound of Music literally exists, I think it's really hard to call this her best role.
No.
She's not slaying in Sound of Music.
What Sound of Music did y'all watch? I will
Only the first half.
not
Maria
take
Von
Sound
Trapp
of Music
a
slander.
slay.
Sorry?
I would not call Maria Von Trapp a slay.
You would not call Maria...
No, Maria Von Trapp is iconic. Maria Von Trapp sings a beautiful song. Maria Von Trapp dances a beautiful dance, but she's not a slay. I'm not going to wear a curtain dress like Maria Von Trapp.
I have one true friend. I want
to be clear. I do not actually believe that this is Julie Andrews' best role. Julie Andrews' best role is Mary Poppins, but...
Yeah. Correct. Which means this is maybe top 3.
Top 3.
I'm sticking with my guns. This is number 1,
you
Julie
would
Andrews.
Say
this is
Princess Diaries 2 is a better performance by Dame Julie Andrews than Mary Poppins?
Correct. I made it take I'm sticking to my guns.
The Academy did not agree with you. But
the Academy is wrong. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up Julie Andrews' IMDb.
I think that's iconic, actually.
Listen, I will commit to a bit, even if it is my downfall. This is my fatal flaw.
As you should.
with my
What
heat bit.
about her voicing Gru's mom in Despicable Me?
Oh, also,
Also,
isn't she
it's like-
Fiona's mom in Shrek?
Yeah. You wouldn't put Gru's mom, but like, thank you, JJ. JJ and I understand the Julie Andrews IMDb page better than anybody else. I'm literally looking.
Controversial opinion. I think all of her roles are her best role.
That's not a controversial
I'm with
opinion.
that.
That's a good opinion.
Every role, best role.
It's my favorite song on the album.
I just won't. I need to still be friends with you at the end of this. So I will accept ending this conversation at Dame Julie Andrews, Princess Diary 2 is a top 3 Julie Andrews performance.
It is. It is in the top 3 because it's number 1.
Just
but
depends on where you
Dame
put it
Julie
in the top
Andrews
3.
deserves the world regardless, and we can all agree on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, here is the correct take. Her concert at Carnegie Hall with Carol Burnett is her best role.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we can all agree there.
Okay, I like the common ground. I like the okay. I can. Woo! We have found an agreement. Thank you everyone for your participation. I was about to have a heart failure live on We'll Throw the After Party. It was about to be We'll Throw a Defibrillator at Liz from the States. We're about to rebrand the show. You're about to see 911 Halifax edition.
We'll
Meet
do
the Halifax Buck and
questionable
Eddie.
CPR on Liz. All right. The next bullet point that we have in the doc, I would like to tribute by just reading all of the quotes of his I wrote down in my notes.
Great. This is
Girl
the
Boss
moment
Joe.
in which we celebrate head of security, husband of Clarice Rinaldi, Joe.
Girl Boss Joe.
Girl Boss Joe.
Girl Boss Joe.
My first note is Joe, love of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the I offered to have him hung by his toes in our courtyard. Slay.
Yep.
His boyfriend thinks he's handsome also. Right on.
Right on.
Somebody else talk while I look for my next quote.
The wedding.
I'm trying to find my notes about him.
When he's against the door at the wedding and he says like, oh, like he didn't plant photographer in the boat, like the maids know everything. That was a really sweet moment.
My next one is Joey, I love you so much. And that was in reference to the parade moment that we mentioned earlier. Next, it's perhaps, but it's in your eyes.
Yep. Wow, I don't have any notes about Joe.
I think that the performance speaks for itself. And looking at the time, I would encourage you to jump to the next point, which I think you have more notes about.
I know I have more. My next is.
Oh, I just said no to the production note. No to the production note. Let's just continue.
The next note about Joe is all caps. They're dancing together. Sob, hard eyes, because every time that scene wrecks me. Followed directly by Joe's "Your Majesty" at the end of that scene breaks my heart every single time. I scream, I cry, I sob.
Yep.
The maids know everything, as previously mentioned. And then, of course, the best Joe moment in the entire movie, it cracks me up every single time, is him doing the travel advisory ad read at the end of the credits.
Further proof this is a movie in the MCU and has a post-credit scene. You have to sit through the full credits.
Just for that ad read. Delicious.
Whoever wrote that copy was like, 2 people are gonna watch this. Also, it implies that Genovia has, what does he say? Like mountains and then sandy beaches. Where in Europe is Genovia?
Right? And like the orphanage castle is like in the Alps.
Yeah.
Like, where is this country?
To be fair, I have read many a fanfic with this exact description, and I always assume that it's on the France-Italy border.
Yeah. I mean, I've always Julie Andrews explains it a little bit in the first movie, but I don't remember exactly what she says. But I've always assumed it's like somewhere near like where Luxembourg is, which is essentially like between France, Germany, and Italy. But yeah.
It's a principality between France and Spain.
Oh. Still doesn't explain the beaches. Whatever.
Look, another place says located between France and Italy with a mile-long Mediterranean coastline and the Alps on the other border of the country.
Oh, that makes it a much bigger country then. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The France-Italy border is the home of many a fanfic that is vague and has all of the elements that you could possibly imagine.
Also home to many a fake European country.
Correct.
Like, you need a fake European country?
There's actually a town called, hold on, I'm trying to find it. God damn it, my Zoom hasn't been working well today. It's called Genoa, which is the metropolitan city of Genoa in Italy.
Genoa.
And the capital of the northwestern, I can't pronounce this word, Liguria region? However, it's quite close to the French border. And that's what I imagine, like where they would pick up the name Genovia, perhaps. And it does match. It does check out, and it does kind of have a border up into the mountains. So, just saying, I think we cracked it.
Wow. Girl Boss Joe.
Slay.
Truly. We have one more girl boss. Arguably the girl bossest. The bossest of girl bosses.
Of girls.
The bossest of girls. Lily Moscovitz, best friend of Princess Mia, riding in the Stang. And
Berkeley grad student. We love to see it.
I just want to say what we're all thinking. Lily Moscovitz is queer culture.
Mm-hmm.
They literally had her jumping out of the closet as her intro to
You're
the
in
movie.
my closet. I'm in your closet.
And then lying about her hair color. And if that's not queer culture,
Liz is so mad about this. She got highlights and she's claiming
I'm
to be
blonde now. She was not. But
I mean,
I love the energy.
Compared to her like dark brown hair, it's a shift.
I would not even call my hair blonde anymore. And it is many shades more blonde.
I saw a whole freaking TikTok talking about what we classify blonde hair and how platinum blonde being the only definition for blonde is super problematic. Anyways, we can have this conversation another time.
All I'm gonna say about her specifically is she got highlights that were very streaky, and she still had big brown chunks of hair. She wasn't blonde. She had blonde chunks, and I took offense to that. I'm like, you've got a mix happening there, and that's great.
Lily Moscovitz is queer culture, but is not blonde.
Blonde chunks. Blonde highlights.
There's blonde highlights.
I mean, I love Captain Kelly, but they gave her the same treatment as Chessie and whatever the fuck his name is in The Parent Trap.
Dad?
No, not the dad, the butler.
Oh, the butler.
They just take the two like random emotional support characters and stick them together. Like, it's like why they gave Ryan Evans a love interest in every High School Musical movie. They were like, we can't have an obviously gay character, even though everyone knows that they are. Let Lily Moscovitz be queer 2022. That's my campaign.
Listen,
you don't host a cable access show called Shut Up and Listen.
I stand by that is a double bi relationship and that they're both bi and it's a queer relationship.
I'm sure the fic exists. It's out there.
Stand by that take.
I can get with that. Yeah. Lily Moscovitz is not straight, and I will Die on
There's
that
nothing
hill.
straight about Captain Kim Kelly.
I mean, the name itself, let's be. Slay. Wow. Okay. We have to talk about the looks. Because
While we're on the hair, Marissa, how do you feel about the hair in this movie?
I love the hair in this movie. This movie opened a lot of doors for me. I still have the DVD of this movie. I actually have the box set of both movies. And well, actually, I have the Blu-ray box set. I have both of them separately on DVD. Anyway, there's this section on the DVD of the like behind the scenes sections where they did the full coronation. Well, actually, I think they did the birthday party, the wedding, and the coronation makeovers and showed you how they did them. They gave you like all of the backstory about the creation of the dresses, about the crowns, if the crowns are heavy, if they're whatever. And they like showed you how they did the makeup and the hair design for all of those looks. Not on Anne Hathaway, but on Anne Hathaway's stand-in. And that's how I learned about a stand-in. I used to gobble up behind the scenes featurettes on DVDs. It's how I learned almost everything about the film industry. And I would like put the DVD in, not watch the movie, just watch this behind the scenes featurette of them doing all of the hairstyles. And I learned how they like pinned the tiaras in to like make them invisible and make them really sturdy. And like I learned about back combing and a curl set, even though you're doing an updo. Oh my God. I was obsessed with this behind the scenes featurette. And
I will say, I do love that they do give her one look with the curls.
yes.
And it's the best look.
Which look is it?
Get so mad that in the first movie, they're like curly, frumpy, bad, and then just straight hair the rest of the time. I love the curls. I love that they bring them back for the coronation scene.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Chef's kiss. No notes. One note. More curls, please.
Yeah. I mean, they really like dug themselves into a hole by like picking an actress with naturally straight hair for a character that has canonically naturally curly hair and like just accepting that they were like going to give her a blowout the whole time forever. Like Mia Thermopolis is not the person that I would believe would maintain a blowout throughout college. Like just let her have her natural curl and like embrace it. That is a thing that bothers me. Paolo, I don't need. He's fun, but like, I don't need him. He was more fun in the first movie, but like, there's a lot of callbacks to the first movie in this one. And I guess that's like cute or whatever. She did look like a moose. She did look like a poodle for sure. The timing of how they didn't do a trial and she apparently didn't know what she wanted and he just like did whatever he wanted and then had time to do 3 hairstyles and then gave her the most boring ass bun in the end. Like, I have some feelings about that. Also, I don't like that dress.
What?
Excuse you?
I love this dress and veil situation.
Stunning.
No.
Yes.
It is so quintessential A-line for the 2000s with the same high neck royal finish that you would expect. I think it's not perfect, but it is beautiful. And the veil is, I'm a big veil person. I love a long dramatic veil. And I think the veil was just stunning on this look.
I do love the veil. I guess my problem with the dress is that it's so of the era. Like, I wanted it to be a bit more timeless. It's, I don't know. I don't like the sequin overlay, basically. That's my problem with it. I would be fine with the sleeves if it didn't like go into a tank top.
Right.
And I also feel like the skirt needs to be a little bit fuller. But that's just how I feel. Another iconic look that we need to discuss. I mean, the closet, the pink, whichever side of me it's actually on. Like, that is what I imagine Alexis wears every day.
This is one of my favorite movie looks of all time. This pink tweed. It's so back. It's so stunning.
It's perfect. I've wanted to wear it my entire life. Something else I've wanted to wear my entire life that I feel pretty strongly. I don't know this to be a fact, but I believe it in my heart. All of us feel this way. Is the poncho.
Shall you read Alexis's notes on the poncho?
Okay. First up, all caps. The poncho. The poncho.
I love
a
the Liz
poncho.
clap delay. It was so egregious.
I'm giving a dramatic reading. Excuse me. The poncho. I love a poncho. Are they practical? No. Are they flattering? No. Do I love them? Yes. Core memory unlocked.
Did everyone have a poncho that they
I
did
had
not
so many
buy
ponchos.
forced upon them in their youth?
Oh no, I wanted it so badly.
I had never bought a poncho. My mother made me multiple ponchos.
Wow.
I wore
had-
a lot of ponchos as a
My
kid.
mother's not
I had
happy.
multiple ponchos as a kid. Some were stunning. My best friend's mom made me a poncho that was stunning and matched hers, and we wore them around, little matching ponchos. I had a gorgeous outdoor poncho, but I wore it when it was really cold outside, and it wasn't meant for like Canadian freezing winter temperatures, so my arms still froze. But then I had some ponchos that were not as great, probably, and probably not made with as much love as the others. And I just remember those ones of being like, not today.
I went to a Catholic school, so I had to wear a uniform every day. And so I didn't get to experiment with my closet very much.
Right.
So anytime I didn't have to wear my uniform, I was in a poncho because
You're
I
in a poncho.
wanted to be Mia Thermopolis. And I was like, she goes in a secret tunnel, discovers that she has to be married, and like looks through a little grate in this like off the shoulder, like open hold. Like it was not doing anything for like
but
warmth.
it set the tone for the next 7 years of fashion. It brought us to 2010.
World changing. Like there was a shift in the culture.
Yeah.
In that poncho. And I love that poncho. And it was never available. Like I don't know who manufactured it. I don't know why it was never available in my size. I really want that poncho.
I know.
I left my thing up so you could have my background, but it's fine. I just had a really important thing you all needed to know is that I did own. What?
No, go.
No, we're excited. Oh,
that is pink and sparkly. And this fabric or this yarn was so expensive, and my mother had to buy so many of it to make this.
A round of tacos, please.
And sparkly and child sized. But yes, I just needed everybody to know that I owned this pink sparkly poncho.
I'm so upset. The only ponchos I ever owned were store-bought. Nobody in my life is a knitter or a crocheter or anything of that ilk. It's really devastating.
You can crochet your own poncho and make that inner child so happy.
I tried to learn how to knit. It didn't go well.
Marissa, would you like me to send you a pink sparkly poncho?
I don't think it would fit me. I think you should appreciate that for what it is and the nostalgia factor it has for you. Because this is a movie full of nostalgia. Isn't it just? You know what it also is full of? Sleighs. We got to bring it back. We got some rapid fire sleighs. Some people wrote down their sleighs. Some people did not. We'll see what happens.
How long are we going for with the rapid fire sleighs?
I think we did a minute last time. Should we just go until we're done?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Let's do it. Ready?
Great.
Go.
Slay. Independent girl boss, Mia Thermopolis.
Slay. This whole scene, and specifically the outfit in this scene.
The whole opening, slay.
Oh, Maurice the poodle, slay.
Fat Louie the cat, slay, and I'm slaying that for Alexis, so I'm gonna go again because I know Alexis would say that if she were here. So I will also add that this dress is a slay.
Joe, slay.
The security intern Lionel, slay.
Lionel.
I had Lionel not knowing how to lower his voice as a slay, so I'm gonna tack that on. Slay.
Oh, that was another quote. Hushed tones, Lionel.
Hushed tones.
Print Jacques, slay.
Raven, cameo, slay.
Big slay. At the ball, like in the opening ball, and there's the guy dancing with her, but he's like essentially doing voguing. Like he like does like a big kick into a split. Like it's essentially what I would say is 2004 voguing, maybe. Anyway, he's iconic. Slay.
Oh, fuck, I'm next. The secret passages, slay.
Damn it. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the ascent of the fear is itself. Slay.
Marissa saying that quote, slay.
Andrew Jacoby, Olympic swimmer, slay.
I just love to look at him. Slay.
Mattress sliding, iconic, slay.
Oh, shoot, I had the next. Niccolo Machiavelli, big, quoted multiple times in this movie, slay.
Pear-flavored popcorn, slay.
Ew, not a slay to me. The newswoman that has so many lines in this movie. Best minor character.
Slay.
The transition from him saying, "How can you rule the people if you do not know the people?" to Mia knowing everybody at the party, slay.
Shonda Rhimes screenwriter, slay.
The Mamma Mia twist ending, or not twist ending, but twist end of wedding sequence, slay.
Oh God, I have so many. You've fallen in love with her, slay.
Andrew putting the engagement ring on her hand and then giving it a little slap in the most platonic way possible, slay.
Slay.
I can't. Oh, now I don't know my train of thought, but I know I have more. Oh, the bouquet at the wedding. The bouquet.
Slay.
On the topic of flowers, her knocking over the pot, picking it up, and then Andrew Jacoby picking up the flower pot and then walking off with the flowers, slay.
Big slay.
Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson, including the music video using footage from the film, slay.
Slay.
This entire sequence has Katniss shaking, slay.
The chess set with the security people, slay.
Hands, slay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There was a question about the Genovia national anthem earlier directed at me. It's a slay.
But that is my horse, slay.
The sexual tension in this film, slay.
I'm out of slays.
I have more. You'll take the bike, slay.
Oh, I'm out of slays.
We're finished with the hand. Slay. The maids know everything. Slay. Lovely on a postage stamp. You
would look lovely on a postage stamp.
Sir, don't look away from me. Sir, you have a duty, sir, to your country, to your father, to me, sir. Slay.
That's the most passionate I've ever seen you about absolutely anything. That I'm gonna replay the last 30 seconds.
I have one more. The Prime Minister, this entire movie, a slay. He does not get enough love. He is an icon. I love him. I'm so obsessed with him.
Yes. Yes. I have one final slay that I didn't feel like I could fit into that frenetic energy, but I realized in this most recent rewatch of the movie that both Queens of Genovia have won Academy Awards for roles in a movie musical, which is just a slay.
Slay.
With the transferring of the of the monarchy, of the crown. Thus
I love the
transferred the
little,
power to win.
singlet that she wears
Yes.
under. It's so beautiful. Obsessed with that.
It is cute.
I did also have on my list of slays Joe doing the travel advisory ad read, but we talked about that earlier, so I did not add that to my list of slays.
Yeah.
I had a couple carryover slays as well that I didn't want to be repetitive about. So yeah, the entire movie is a slay.
Oh, absolutely. I think we really just did it justice.
Can we get a round of tacos in the chat for Marissa making an excellent choice for this week's conversation? I think that this was so much fun. You've set the bar, both of you have set the bar extremely high for very different reasons about the different kinds of conversations we can have on the show. I'm really learning a lot about everyone. And I don't know what movie I'm going to pick because it was going to be Dune, but I don't want to talk about that show because it does not slay in the way that this movie slays, and you will not enjoy it. You will only get mad at me about it. I'm really going to have to think through what my choice shall be for my takeover.
Yeah, it was kind of a challenge because I was like, well, there are other things that like I want to force people to watch, but like I don't really feel confident like leading a discussion in them. So I went with the thing that I knew I could talk a lot about.
I think that's wise.
And
was fun.
Get Sly to do an entire rant as Viscount Maybury.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the highlights of that for the rest of my life.
I think that should just be the promo clip. Just that.
Yeah. Well, Marissa, please, your final thoughts on this movie. Close us out.
It's the best movie ever made. What else is there to say? Everyone should watch it. It's so secretly horny. There are times where you would not believe it's a Disney movie, and that's what makes it beautiful.
I've just decided what our movie shall be.
Oh no.
Oh yes. I just decided in this moment what movie is camp enough, time of year enough,
because
slay enough.
Followed directly after Marissa talking about the horniness levels.
That's what cued it in my brain.
And now I am scared.
Great.
Oh, we can't use that word. All the bots are coming for us now. Oh dear. Let's wrap this show quickly as we sign out. What was under the radar for us this week? For me, I just wanted to give a quick plug that the Clock app algorithm has not been nice to creators in the past week. Everyone's views are tanking. So if you have favorite creators, go to their profiles and watch their most recent videos and show them some love. It's app wide, and it's hurting a lot of people's feelings that are working very hard to make content for you. So if you were not aware that that's happening, it's happening across the board to everybody, and it's a big downer for everyone trying to make content right now. So go support your favorite creators. They could use your love. And I also within that one Sorry.
I was just gonna riff off of that. Apparently, bad content is doing very well because I did post my first TikTok in months, and it did like 500 views, which is, I know y'all don't understand, but for like people with like around 1,000 followers, if you're over 500, that's like numbers.
Yeah.
I also did want to shout out Sylvan because Sylvan has been on my comments and of my haul video said this top specifically reminded of Laura Dern. So I was like, I'm going to do a Laura Dern moment. And I also did not realize that when I bought this shirt, but I am going to Jurassic Park. So I shall wear this shirt at Jurassic Park and do a little Laura Dern cosplay. So shout out to Sylvan for being in the comments this week. I did appreciate it. And all of you that are in the comments, I always appreciate seeing your familiar, friendly faces.
Yeah. Mine is also just like a shout out this week. Today marks a year since the passing of Stephen Sondheim. And so I just wanted to like recommend, go listen to a Sondheim album. Go watch a Sondheim movie musical or like the PBS Into the Woods recording. Like just go enjoy some Sondheim. Even watch Tick, Tick, Boom. He's in that. Just like appreciate his art for a second. That was it.
Slime.
My under the radar this week is along the themes of me listening to a lot of shit this week. A new podcast came out. It's a Multitude production. Who's surprised? Nobody is. But it's called Pale Blue Pod, and it's with Dr. Moya McTeer, who's a folklorist and astrophysicist, and talking about space and how we can learn more about space with it not being like, ooh, big scary. So I've been listening to the first couple episodes of that. JJ says Warrior Nun. I remember my roommate really liked that when season 1 came out. So JJ's saying go watch Warrior Nun. I think there's a new season out recently, and that's why it's back in the common collective. What I don't know the word I'm looking for here.
Yeah.
Anyways,
to end the show, shall I announce what we are watching next week live?
Oh God.
Can I get a round of tacos, please? And I know it's applause, but like, can I get a little drum roll, please? Or do you want to take a guess?
No, I do not.
It's gonna be some fucking Christmas something.
It is peak seasonal depression heading into December movie. We are watching Twilight, everybody!
Yes!
Yeah!
No.
We are re-entering our Twilight eras for our next after party. So, if you want
Okay, I feel partially responsible for this choice. I have not seen the Twilight movies. I am not looking forward to watching them, but I will for you, Liz.
You know what, Sly? There's a part of you that's gonna love it.
I don't think so. I read the books and hated every minute of it. I did read a really terribly written fanfic earlier this week that was Twilight AU, and it was bad. It was poorly written. It was poorly alternate universe. But there were I did send it to Liz being like, I'm going to read this, and then it was bad.
Here is the homework, okay? I recently rewatched all of the Twilight movies, except I did not watch the first one because I thought I was only going to watch New Moon, okay? So I have to go back and rewatch the first Twilight movie to complete the binge watch that I just did. So if you feel like rewatching all of the movies, have at it. But the required viewing is the first movie. I have a lot of thoughts on Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2, which is what I would love to talk about. But we will stick with the first Twilight movie just to make sure we're talking about everything in chronological order. And I would like a fanfic component of next week's episode, including the horrible one that Sly read. And not just like talking about the fics themselves, but talking about how it's a piece of media that has such a strong fanfic culture, because we haven't really talked about media outside of like MCU 911 that has a big fanfic community with it. So let's talk about Twilight and all the things it's become. It's also having a renaissance right now.
Oh, 100%.
Like there's Twilight merch at Claire's. Like it's coming back. So
yeah,
Twilight next week. Bring your merch. Team Edward, Team Jacob.
Wow,
we're doing it. We're going all the way. Actually, first Twilight movie is a little bit less on the Jacob side, but I'm so sorry, Sly. Alexis is ready with a rant.
I love you, Liz, because this is literally my nightmare scenario, but it's fine.
We will talk about it. That's
why this show is good. We have
fun.
We have conversation. It's always something interesting.
We will see you next time. And we'll throw the after party. Enjoy your weekends. Enjoy World Cup. See you on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at After Party Show, at Mr. Bobissa, at Producer Liz, at Slyclone MC, at Just Alexis Blake. Bye!
Bye!
Go check out Alexis's episode of MC University. It's very fun and very good.
Woo woo!